GMEX Fusion also services those modern up-and-coming crypto exchanges, existing ones, but also others for a whole range of asset classes, because we're not just talking about cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Ethereum now, we're also talking about tokenizing a whole raft of assets, everything from gold and agriculture on the commodity side to customer loyalty, as well as a broader range of asset classes like pharma and other products. And GMEX Fusion is multi-asset and very much suited to that.
Hey, you guys, thank you so much for tapping in to see what we have to say. Yes, you read that thumbnail correct. Is QNT secretly Hyperledger's token? And does GMEX, how do they play a part? You want to stick around for this one, I promise. Hey, if you are tuning in, you find value in the information, hit the sub for us, hit the like button for us. Brother, what you have to tell the people?
On the 19th of June, Future of Finance, of course, will present its inaugural Future of Finance Award ceremony celebration dinner. Basically speaking, we're a few days past this, but we'll highlight some of these key things. So for one, companies at the Future of Finance Awards, seats becoming limited and so on. You see, for example, some of the ones that really catch your attention. Chainlink, obviously. You see BTCC, which has been in the news a lot lately. The NASDAQ. Jesse and I did a video, I think, about NASDAQ and Ripple XRP, right? But you also see Quant, and of course, you see R3 as an R3 Corda. And of course, some other big names, obviously, like Standard Chartered. I mean, there's a whole bunch of big ones, right? Here's where you're probably wondering, where do we mention the whole thing GMEX? GMEX is highlighted in this particular outline. So before we get into that segment, and again, why it matters to you, I'm going to, of course, show you this.
If managing your crypto feels like solving a puzzle, it's time to switch to Decent Wallet. So just a few taps, you can manage, track, and secure your crypto with unmatched ease. And here's the best part. Grab your Decent Wallet at a discounted price by using the referral link below. Don't miss out on making your crypto experience smoother and more secure.
And of course, we'll kick it over again to Channing. So GMEX Fusion. Think about the terminology. Call it a stretch. But I will give you a solid reason and outline on why I feel as though Quant is literally got this new thing of fusion. Okay. So for one, this is GMEX Fusion. Again, think about this. Hybrid centralized and blockchain distributed ledger technology solution. Okay. So it talks about settlement and payments. On the right, you see IBM blockchain, Hyperledger, blockchain gateways. And again, think about the gateways. Think about how even Quant connects to things like Ripple XRP, Stellar, again, BTC, all these other ones. All right, that is a major deal. Banks and institutions. Wallet updates. Think about Quant's over wallet. And of course, the orchestration of how this all connects and why it matters, especially when it comes to a centralized post-trade approach, trade reporting, clearing, settlement payments. Again, the whole shebang of why we pay attention to all this. But again, left side, it says trading, issuance, and tokenization. Talks about payment gateway, talks about smart wallets, talks about those smart contracts. And just real quick, participants and members kicking over to APIs to access the platform from other applications. This all matches up with Quant, and I've been saying this for a while. I've always felt as though the unofficially QNT token is the Hyperledger token. Hyperledger doesn't have a token. Some people point out, well, technically, Sorimitsu, but comparing something like Sorimitsu to Quant Network, nothing against you guys that hold Sorimitsu, it's got some of the worst tokenomics there is in the world. Quant, on the other hand, has some of the best tokenomics in the world. Let's kick it over to our brother in the space, the one and only King Channing, and we'll tie in everything else on our hypothesis of the whole thing of GMEX, and if QNT is secretly the Hyperledger token. Go ahead and take it away, Channing.
Well, even seeing just from the future of finance and the players that they have, nominated for the awards is incredible for Quant to be even in the breadth or in the midst of some of these amazing, huge conglomerates. And to know that, I don't know if you'll be going to get into this part, but they did take home, I believe you said, an award. And it's only cementing, what we're saying about back in our other video, the language of money, being able to decipher and decode messages and make those messages interoperable with one another, things of that nature. And then knowing how Quant is playing a part with all these big players. And we already know between Hyperledger, Bezu, Hyperledger Cactus, all these things, we've already tied all those companies into Overledger multiple different times in multiple different videos, So we're just on this roadmap and this journey. It's almost like a flower. And as the flower opens up, as each petal opens up, you get more and more and more of the story presented to you. And that's what it seems like is happening right now in real time in 2025 is the story is starting to truly be presented. And by 2026, 2027, we'll see the full opening of that flower and all of the interoperating parts and how all those petals play a part. So I'm here for it, brother.
Let's full screen this. Kind of already shared it, right? But again, Quant Papa wants us to focus on what you see there, the IBM blockchain, the whole thing, Hyperledger, and so on, right? And again, even on the surface with Quant's tech stack, how many times did we show you guys where there's old references to their old name of Remit? Again, what they have interoperability with. As we pull up more about this, there is CBS42.com pointed out through, technically speaking, Iron Press Wire by Newsmatics. This citation of GMEX Group wins, quote, best solution for trading digital assets award. That was back in 2023. And basically, the reason why I'm bringing this to you guys is I want to point out, again, some of these key things. So for one, what you're going to see also here is the whole idea that, at least back then, the winners were selected by the way of industry-wide vote. Announced, at least at the time, the submission or at the summit of, in London back in 2023. And it mentions specifically more about this concept on interoperability or interoperable. So for one, it mentions this. The as in GMEX Fusion has, at that time, multiple solutions, including its multi-hub network of networks. Think about that, especially with Quant is named Network of Networks service, and that bridges both traditional and digital assets, removing the need to integrate with multiple venues and custodians. Quant Overledger actually does that as well. So is this basically Quant's tech? That's the question that needs to be answered. This integrates with PikeTor, which is a recent acquisition at that time from ING, a highly secure digital asset custody solution and blockchain settlement network that is interoperable with multiple public and private blockchains. Interesting. And also the other part where GMEX Group is a pioneer in the domain of hybrid finance, and they have the whole thing of offering trading and post-trade solutions. You have multiple asset classes, and it includes carbon credits and ESG securities on the same platform infrastructure, especially when it comes to regulated markets. Now, here's where you may need to see some receipts. If we jump over to this PDF, we see it comes from GMEX Group. Now, the PDF is only 2 pages, but whatever the case be, you can look into this more yourself if you choose to do so. Or you can just follow people like myself and Channing. So GMEX Fusion. Again, think about the terminology here. Hybrid centralized blockchain distributed ledger technology solution. Again, the whole thing about IBM platform, blockchain platform. The whole thing of Hyperledger Fabric. And like it says, delivering state-of-the-art hybrid trading and post-trade solutions, exchanges, clearinghouses, again, so on and so forth. Now, you may be wondering specifically some of these key things. And I want to get into some of this stuff because, again, for me, this is so eye-opening when you decide to get more into the entire mix of things. So for one, back to some of those references that we showed earlier, let's take you into why this is important. So let's pull it up on the next page. And this gets interesting to me. It's this: hybrid digital asset solutions from GMEX. Again, constant mentions, I should say, about fusion, their fusion. Some people say it's not quant. Hear me out. Mentions that fusion has been engineered to provide solutions for the new age of trading, overcoming the limitations of current market systems. Quant also has mentioned that almost word for word. Don't believe me? Check out some of our other deep dives. But whatever the case be, it offered either on-premise, cloud-based, or via managed service operated by experienced market practitioners. Now you think about that in itself. If you watch our other deep dive about the video or Zoom call with Gilbert Verdian, how many times did he mention some of those cloud-based ones? What we're going to do is we're going to play this. This is a little under 4 minutes. Draw your own conclusion. Sometimes just hearing it or seeing it is all you need. Let's go ahead and play this. We'll be back here shortly. Here we go.
GMEX Fusion is a unique set of products and services where we're taking the existing GMEX technologies and business processes that we work with our clients in partnership with, either centralized exchange platform, everything we do on the clearing and settlement side, and combining that with blockchain technology so that we've very much got a hybrid construct here where the current world meets the new world. It's very, very important to see how markets are evolving. Markets are faster moving than ever before. You've got to be agile, and certainly the GMEX product solution set allows us to do that in partnership with our clients on a global basis. But also we're now seeing new technologies emerge. And now those new technologies like blockchain, artificial intelligence, they have a number of different purposes. On the one hand, you've got existing established firms who are looking at how they utilize blockchain to improve business processes, reduce costs, make processes more efficient, reduce the time of processing. But on the other hand, you've also got then the existing crypto exchanges who, as they move to go mainstream and as they grow from becoming retail shops to now servicing institutional clients, they really need modern technology that's used to being operated in a regulated environment and actually institutional regulated business process as well. GMEX is heavily involved in the blockchain space now as far as market infrastructure is concerned. And in this world, 1 month is almost equivalent of 12 months in the traditional world. Things are moving so fast. So what you have is you have the traditional exchanges now looking at how they reinvent themselves. And of course, they're going to continue to run centralized platforms, centralized clearinghouses as well. But at the same time, they're also looking at how they bring in distributed ledger technology and really harness the true benefits of the blockchain. So GMEX Fusion very much services those types of existing exchanges and clearinghouses, and on the post-trade side, settlement houses, depositories, custodians, and so forth. But on the other side of it, GMEX Fusion also services those modern up-and-coming crypto exchanges, existing ones, but also others for a whole range of our asset classes, because we're not just talking about cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Ethereum now, we're also talking about tokenizing a whole raft of assets, everything from gold and agriculture on the commodity side to customer loyalty, as well as a broader range of asset classes like pharma and other products. And GMEX Fusion is multi-asset and very much suited to that. Most blockchain initiatives out there are really at the proof of concept stage, and there's a lot of hype in the marketplace. What we do at GMEX is very much real, and that's when we announce it. So we have GMEX Fusion live at Blockchain Board of Derivatives, which is a very, very innovative European-based Ether futures and derivatives exchange. In addition to that, we also have the underlying GMEX technology operating at Seed CX in the US, which is a CFTC improved swap execution facility that's majority owned by Bitrex and is doing a whole raft of crypto to crypto swaps and also crypto to fiat spot transactions as well.
All right, Channing. This is the moment everybody's been waiting for before I kick it over to you, because I definitely want to get your 2 cents on this. So, how do we go from speculation of this to confirmation? And as the saying goes, boil it, mash it, stick it in a stew. What do we see here? This comes from this particular publication from GMEX Group. The point number 5, digital crypto blockchain leads back in 2020. Demand for digital capital market solutions increases. Do they mention Overledger at any particular point? Well, yes, they do. And what you see over here, advancements in blockchain interoperability. I'll actually go down to this part. In June of 2020, Quant Network, yes, they mentioned Quant Network, a technology provider delivering a blockchain enterprise-grade interoperability for digital assets across any network, partner, of course, with Oracle. They mentioned this back in 2020. This must have been a private document. Think about that. All right? In 2020, we just got verification finally this year about the whole thing. Anyway, just saying. So Quant will use Oracle Cloud to run mission critical business. And over here on this top part, of course, mentions some of these key things. But again, applications on the interoperable DLTs that will be powered by Overledger, which connects global networks to blockchain-based platforms. Now, again, some people are going to point out, it doesn't say that they're directly partnered with Overledger. Yeah, I get that, but respect the whole idea of NDAs and respect the whole idea that we have covered, at least for over 2 years before it came into light, the whole thing of Oracle being a real thing. And people are like, well, until I see it, I'm not going to take advantage of anything. I don't know about you, but I was taking advantage of getting some QNT when I was around the $55 mark. But hey, it is what it is. Some of you guys, even back in 2022, took advantage of it at $40, right? But this is not a comparison contest. It's interesting to, again, see some of the key findings. And just one more, just in case you still don't see it. Here's from the actual original document. And again, just more of a clear screenshot because, again, sometimes seeing is believing. They definitely do cite not only Overledger, but obviously the whole thing with some of these other companies like Oracle. I just think that's really, really important. And of course, glad to bring it to you guys. Let's kick it over to, for example, what Channing has. And Channing, I mean, sometimes for me, that's all I need. But I get it. Some people want more of that confirmation. It literally is called Fusion back in 2020. And we have Quant Fusion now in 2025. Your thoughts?
You have to remember, what is Quant providing for most of these companies? A white label product, which means you can utilize my services. You can tap into everything my services have to offer, but you can keep your name on it. So no one will ever know in the background, it is my product actually powering your services. And for them to actually mention not just Oracle and Quant's partnership, but also Overledger and how integral Overledger is to the interoperability of whatever that partnership or process is that they have going on. Brother, the writing is on the wall, and apparently the writing has been on the wall, whether that was in public documents or private documents, in NDAs or in press releases. The writing is on the wall, and it's coming out more and more. Like I said earlier about that flower and these petals opening up more and more, you're seeing the players that are truly in the ball game versus talking about the ball game. I said that before, that most of Web3 talk about roadmaps, they talk about white papers, but there's no actual product. They talk about proof of concepts. They talk about, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But then you have a player like a Quant that not just says we're going to do it, but also show the proof in the pudding, because they literally not only coming from their website, but whatever process that they're talking about, also in press releases simultaneously talk about things like the digital euro and the digital pound and the RLN and the RSN and things like Rosalind and like Agora, all of these things that we are tying Quant to and Overledger to, directly or indirectly. It's a part of it. And going back to the video that we did about the standards, it only makes sense. He talked about 4 or 5 different standardizing, organizing global bodies coming together and interoperating with each other, building out these processes, whether that's telecommunications, whether that's blockchain, whether that's sending of money, or whatever the case may be. These standard players are working together. And now, like I've said before, we're seeing these decisions that have already been made. Now, I don't know if they've announced the interoperability or interoperable, whoever won that particular award, but what I do know from that whole ceremony is that Quant did win an award, and that's for programmable payments. And if you think about that, and if you think about if they get the lion's share globally of programmable payments, how incredible that would be for the utilization of Overledger and QNT indirectly. Brother, we are truly living in the institutional build out of Web3. It's like he said on that. Before, it's just been DGens and retail operating on these exchanges. Now that we have real institutional money starting to flow into these networks, we need to make sure these exchanges are safe, they're resilient, they're future-proof. And what better white label product gives them that security? Overledger, the interoperable ISO TC 307 standard for building on blockchain. Brother, I came back over to you.
Let's give you guys the last part, the final connector. And you know how we mentioned the whole thing about IBM? You guys may wonder, like, why does Max mention some of these things, but then he doesn't come back to it? I do come back to it. It's just a lot of people click off these videos and don't watch to the end. So again, you got to watch from beginning to end. Just like a movie. Who's not watching from beginning to end? If anything hits pause, come back to it later. But whatever the case be, shout out to you guys who did watch to the end. Here's why you need to watch to the end. And basically it's this. It's what's in the description. Sometimes people hit play on the videos, but they never read anything else. This only had 130 views. GMEX uses who? IBM Blockchain to reinvent how markets are traded, cleared, and of course settled. We're going to play this, draw your own conclusion, and then we'll wrap it up. Here we go.
When we looked at moving into the blockchain space, and we genuinely saw this as an opportunity to reinvent the way that markets traded, cleared, and settled, came up with the idea of GMEX, because all of a sudden, many of the providers out there were acting as pure vendors. They weren't really looking at a partnership approach, aligning interests to that of the client and ensuring that this was a sustainable venture built out together. So one of the advantages here is with the first wave, whether it's cryptocurrency exchanges, custodians, and whether they were decentralized or whether they were centralized, they're all on disparate blockchains and disparate permission blockchains or public blockchains. And none of them were talking to each other. We've created that middleware overlaid on IBM blockchain platform and the next generation of that to allow that to act as a glue between many liquidity pools and many custodians, so that now that they can talk to each other and you can move activity between them. The key benefits of this second wave of blockchain is there's more seamless integration between multiple nodes of activity in a very coherent fashion. Now, this leads to more efficient trading with private blockchains, lower latency and higher throughput, which then is more suitable for a trading environment. It increases trust, it reduces risk, and it also encourages a wider time frame of trading, which can really be 24/7 and global, with more efficient clearing and settlement along with that. This is an opportunity now, given the access to revolutionary technology we have, like blockchain AI, the ability to harness cloud as well as private networks, to revolutionize the way that banks and exchanges do things.
Channing, I mean, the way I look at it is the evidence is there. And, again, back to this gentleman. I mean, it's really there. I'll just read this real quick, just from, GMEX. It literally says exactly what that man said in that last video. Look at this. Around the core at the very top, right? Let me zoom in a little bit more. Okay. You guys are going to miss this if I don't. GMEX is a global market infrastructure vendor providing multi-asset trading, exchange, matching engine, and post-trade business technology solutions centered around a core hub and spoke proposition. Remember the part about hub and spoke, okay? The other thing that's interesting is GMEX Fusion, software as a service, a hybrid traditional digital exchange of post-trade technology software product suite to enable third-party financial venues spoke nodes into the multi-hub PaaS cloud. I mean, basically, Overledger does that. But again, look at the whole documentation about Overledger Fusion. So that matches up. But let's just go back to this concept. Don't forget about it. Hub and spoke proposition. Now, your final connector. Boil it, mash it, stick it in stew. A private conversation. Don't ask where this comes from. Okay? Seriously. Gilbert Verdian, private conversation. What does Gilbert mention here? He mentions center, hub, and spoke on a Telegram private conversation. That's interesting. I don't know about you guys, but for me, there's enough proof about why this is a big deal. So, again, Channing, I just want to get some of your closing thoughts, because the way I look at it is I truly believe, I don't have 100% proof, but I truly believe that QNT is secretly the Hyperledger token. And we clearly see that GMEX Group had Fusion in their incubator, if you will, since 2020. And now in 2025, it's all come to fruition. Again, your closing thoughts.
Yeah, it just pounds home the whole thing of when they made it abundantly clear this is a white label product. I keep saying it because it matters. Like, I can put my name on your white label product and you'll never know that you are utilizing my services, but my services are being operated in the background. I like you said, we don't have 100% proof that it is Overledger or that it is, Fusion or whatever the case may be. But knowing that they mention Quant by name and mention Overledger by name in the past in regards to their interoperable processes and how integral it is to Oracle, then know that if it was something that wasn't, live and active, Oracle wouldn't have just mentioned it 2 or 3 months ago when they rolled out their blockchain platform. If it wasn't something that was actually, present day and being utilized. To me, the writing's on the wall. I'm just at this point sitting back and seeing what colors 2025 and 2026 and 2027 turn, and see, like I said before, as this flower opens up, how many petals actually use the underlying technology of Overledger and Quant, because it is tied to multiple standard organizations globally. And you now have the largest players in the world coming into this blockchain space, and they want to utilize it at massive scales. They want to make sure that they don't have an oh no or oops moment, and they want to make sure that their money is safe, is resilient, and it's future proof. So I don't know what more to say other than let's just see how the next 12, 24, 36 months play out. But it's looking like it's going to fall in Quant's favor more often than not. I'll keep it back over to you, brother.
Once again, very well said. Thank you for that, Channing.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Glad to do these collaborations with Channing once again. Hey, do us a solid if you listen to the entire outline and type in these 4 letters into the comments, and that is GMEX. And we'll know that you listen to the entire outline. On behalf of myself and Channing over at King Channing, that we have, know you hold it, the research trumps FUD 110%. We'll see you guys on the next one.